Hi, this is David here at Highland Campervans and welcome to the handover video of this Globecar Summit Prime. In this video, we're going to take you around some of the key features and operations of this vehicle to help you get all settled for your first few adventures away. Now, I do recommend that you maybe bookmark this video or maybe download it to your device as a reference for future use. So it's all left to see is sit back, enjoy the video, and I'll catch you at the other end. Above the entry door of your Globecar Summit Prime, you are going to find these three control devices. The one here on the left is the main habitation control. The one in the middle is the Truber heating control. And the one on the right is the Dometic fridge control systems. Now they look a little bit complicated, but they are very simplified to use. So let's start with the habitation control panel. So you've got a number of buttons on here relating to different functions around the van itself, as it were. So on here, we have our little display screen, which will give us internal temperature, outside temperature, time, and this little symbol just here lets us know that the van is currently on electric hookup. The home button screen just basically is just that. It will be just a home button screen just to reset this display back to what you see here. This one here is the fresh water tank. It is flashing because it's low level. So when the tank is running low, you'll see it flash like this here. You press this just to give you an indication of the level. So it will flash when it's 24% or low. And then the next one down is, see if you press it again, sorry, this one here, you'll get a new symbol, which will show you the current waste tank level. If you're not too sure which one is which, when you look at the symbols, think of it as water going in, water coming out. Okay, next one down is the battery levels. So this will give us the current leisure battery status. And then this will give us the current vehicle battery status. Again, like the fresh water, when the batteries reach a certain level, this will start to flash and beep as well. This one down here, this is just to change the brightness of the display. So you can tap this here to make the display as bright as you like. Button at the top corner here, when it is green, it's on, like these other devices here just now. And this here is to turn the light control systems on and off. Water pump, turn the water pump on and off. And this here is to turn the fridge circuit on and off. Now, when you turn the fridge circuit on and off, it will affect the control panel here on the right. So if I press this button, the control panel here will switch off. So to be able to use this control panel, we need to make sure that we have the fridge circuit switched on over here. And last but not least, you have a complete power shutdown button here. When you press this button here, it will turn off the 12-volt electric circuits for the van. Now, incidentally, if you do this while the fridge is running, as I demonstrate here, the fridge circuit will also be switched off. So if you wish to leave the fridge running, you do need to leave this control panel engaged as well. So these two panels need to be operating for the fridge circuit to be active. And likewise, if you want to run the fridge while driving, start the ignition, turn this control system on, turn the fridge circuit on, and then choose whatever fridge mode you want. So let's move on into the middle, which is the Truber control system. So the Truber control system is a very simplified device to use. So we turn the screen on by pressing the home button here and then unlock the screen. Or if we're powering off for the first time, you'll see a wee screen that will display in here for powering on. So let's unlock that. So what have we got going on here? So we again have date and time. We have the device is Bluetooth ready. If you want to use the iNext app, you can control this via a mobile phone app, which is located in your owner's handbook. And this symbol here also lets you know that the Truber system recognizes it's on electric hookup. So, room heater. Let's start first with the room heater. So the room heater is this device just over here. So we tap this, we set the temperature that we want. We can also see that the van is currently at 7 degrees, so we know what temperature the background of the van is as well. We then pick the energy mode that we want the heater to operate on, be it on gas or on electric. So let's pick 900 electric. We then return back to the previous screen, and then we can then decide whether we want the boiler to operate as quickly as possible, or we want it in just a comfort mode where it just operates quietly in the background without making too much noise. The red circles that you're seeing just here is letting us know that the system is currently engaging and it is now heating. And we can see that also by a little flame symbol up in the top corner of the control display just here. So when we return to the home screen, we will now see this. So it lets us see that the room system is on. We've got the green bar and it's currently working its way to 25 degrees. To turn the heater off, we would tap this. And then we're going to press the little button at the top corner here, the on-off button. So we're going to tap that. and that will now turn the hot water, the room heater off. So you see that the green bar is now vanished from the top here. So let's put this back on because it is a little bit of a cold day today. So let's put it back on, heating, electric, everything is all fine, and then back to the start screen again. So for hot water, you obviously do need to make sure you do have plenty of hot water, fresh water in the tank. So we have enough just for now for this demonstration. So it's exactly the same as the room heater. So we go on, we're going to pick what we want to do. So we want the water eco, ideal for doing dishes, comfort mode for washing your face and the vanity sink, and hot is if you like to get a shower. So again, we're going to pick the energy mode. So here we can either use the gas or electric, and then we can either boost this system if we want to boost it. So it just sort of gets it going a bit faster, but most of the time you just leave it as it is. And then when we return to the home screen, we're now going to see the same as we saw with the room heater, the green bar, and what heat mode we want the water to be in. And again, to turn the hot water off, it's just like turning off the heating system. So we use the little on-off button at the top corner here, tap that, there we go, and then the hot water system is now off. You do have a timer mode. So on the timer mode, you can configure this through the IXNet app, and then on your app, you can then set an on-off time for the heater system, very much like your home heating system, where you can set the boiler to come on and off at certain times. Notifications, hiding the notifications if there's any errors that the Truba system throws up. The most common errors that you find with the Truba system is where you've maybe mixed the energy mode incorrectly. So you've told the van to heat on gas, but the gas circuit isn't on, or you told the van to heat on electric and the van is not hooked in. You'll normally see these errors pop on here. It's quite common, and this lets you go in and see exactly what the error code is and then reset the system as necessary. Now, an important note with the Truba system is that when you are operating the Truba system and you want to turn the habitation system off, it's very important to turn the Truba system off first. It's just a matter of prudence. Sometimes the Truba system can throw an error where it gets an electrical interrupt. So it's just a matter of prudence. I always recommend you switch this off first. So how do we do that? Very simple. Turn the screen on, hit the turn off button, press turn off here, and then wait till this screen powers down. When you get the dead display, that means the Truba system is completely off, which means we can turn the circuits off here safely. And then again, rebooting the Truba system. When the system's back on here again, it's just a case of pressing the home button and let the screen fire back up again. And that there is the Truba system. So I'm just going to put the heater back on because, as I said, it is a little colder here today. There we go. So let's move on to the fridge control panel. So fridge control panel, when there's no lights on the fridge control panel here, it's most likely because we haven't switched it on the master panel. So let's turn that on just now. There we go. And that now is our fridge controls just on here. So we have a couple of different displays going on. So I'll run you through this as best as I can. So on the left, you have the 3 energy mode for the fridge. Performance, which is your normal operating mode. Quiet, which is for when you want to use the van late at night and you don't want the fridge making too much noise. And then you have boost. Boost is essentially where the fridge is warm, it hasn't been used for a while, and you need to get it cooled as fast as possible. So this will put the fridge into a high energy mode. It will be a little bit noisy, but the fridge is doing its absolute best to cool itself down as quickly as possible. And then on the side here, we have what the temperature of the fridge is going to be, and if there's any particular warning that the fridge has picked up will be highlighted on this light here. So let's have a look at the different modes. So first things first, we need to wake the control panel up. So we tap the buttons here, wake the panel up, so you see it goes brighter, and then we can tap the mode button, and that one switches between the different modes. So as I said, performance mode is your regular everyday mode for the fridge. So the fridge will run as it needs to. Quiet mode is for late night operation. Now, quiet mode puts the fridge into a low compression cycle. Ideally, you don't want to open the fridge, so do this just before you go to bed, and this will turn itself off after about 8 hours. It'll automatically move into performance mode, or if the fridge is reaching a high critical temperature and it needs to cool itself back down again. So, and boost mode, as I mentioned, is when you need to get the fridge cooled as quickly as possible. That will allow the fridge then to basically sort of run as hard as it can to get the fridge down to temperature as quickly as it can. So changing the temperature. So we use the temperature symbol just here. We give this a tap, and then we just work our way through the various different levels. Now for fridges, I always recommend starting in the middle at number 3 on the fridge, and then see how you go from there. If you find it's a little bit too chilled, you can obviously drop it, or if you need a little bit more, you can raise it a little bit. But bear in mind that when you are off grid, the higher the fridge level, the more energy the fridge is actually using. When you're hooked up, it doesn't matter so much, but when you're off grid, just be aware that the higher the fridge level is, the more energy the fridge is going to use. So to turn the fridge circuit off, we can obviously turn it off on this control panel here, but the easier way to do it is to turn it off on the hab panel, this button just there, and then that will turn the fridge circuit off. Now, when you are winterizing your van, it's not a bad idea to leave the fridge door ajar, just to avoid any mildew or damp inside the fridge, and it just makes it nice and fresh for when you're reseasoning the van. So that covers the habitation control panel, the Truma heating system, as well as our fridge circuit. Moving on to your cooking station and your sink in your Globecar. So these are accessed underneath these 2 control panels. So let's lift this up. There's your sink, and there is your hob unit. So let's look at the hob unit first. So before using the hob unit, you're going to want to make sure that you have turned the gas on and that you have turned the isolation taps on. We'll cover those in another part of this video. So the hobs have a self-igniter. So it's a simple case of just pushing the button down, turning it to igniter mode, and allowing it to spark. So there's your first one. Give it a couple of seconds to allow it to warm, and that's your first ring. And there's your second ring just there. And then we can adjust these ring flows by using the Wii control dial left and right to whatever flow that we want. And then to turn them off, we just rotate them back to the little dot positions just here. Now, just a word of caution is when the hob rings are lit, please don't close the glass. You could potentially damage the glass, or even worse, maybe shatter it. And likewise, when you have been cooking, before you put the glass back down again, do let these rings cool off a little bit first, again, just to avoid any damage. There is also a size recommendation for the 2 rings. The one at the back here is for pans up to about 220 millimeters, and the one at the front here is designed for about 160 millimeters, and that's covered just here on a little warning sticker as well for you. But from the size of it, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can clean around this. The grill here will come out, but just bear in mind that these little bungs can sometimes tear, or you can easily lose them, as it were. So that covers that side there. So let's move on to the sink side of things. Now, with the sink, obviously you need to make sure that you have fresh water in the tank and that you have turned the water pump on the habitation control panel, covered in another part of this video. So it's a case of just lifting the faucet up and then using the faucet control to action the water through. If you have the hot water system running, so you've got hot water engaged, by rotating this just here, we'll switch between the mixer tap of hot and cold water. And once you're done, just push the faucet control down to stop the flow. Now, the water here will pass through into the waste tank, which then can be emptied as and when you need to at a service point, and we'll show you the emptying of that in another part of this video. Once you're all finished with this, it's just a case of just push the faucet control down and then closing this down here, and that there covers the sink and your cooking station in your Globecar. Let's take a look at the location for the gas isolation taps in your Globecar Summit Prime. So they are tucked just down underneath the bed, down here on the left at the end of the cook station. So you can see the access step. I've removed the cushion just here just to make this a little bit easier to see. So if I look down there under the bed, you will see this little alcove just down here. Let's move on down so we can see that a little bit better. And that there is the alcove there for the gas taps. So the gas taps, there are 2. You have one which is for the hot water and the boiler system, and then one which is for the cook station just here. Now, for the gas taps, this position here, this up and down position, allows gas to flow from the bottle to the 2 devices on board. Now, for traveling and for winterization, I recommend that you isolate the gas circuit, and that's a simple case of turning these 90 degrees like so, and that then will isolate the circuits. Now, for use of the van, don't forget that if you're not getting your gas through the hob, or you're getting an error message on your boiler system, it's probably because you maybe forgot to turn these on, and that again, like I said, 90 degrees will turn those systems back on again. Let's take a look in the bathroom of your Globecar. So hiding in the bathroom of your Globecar, we've got the vanity sink, we have the toilet just in the corner here. Let's take a look at the bathroom in your Globecar. So in the bathroom of your Globecar, we have our vanity sink, we have a toilet just down to the side here, and then behind this panel, we then have our shower. Now, let's look at the vanity sink first. So with the vanity sink, this works just like the kitchen sink. You need to make sure you've got fresh water in the tank, and then you have turned the water pump on. So once that's all done, we access the faucet control, and that will allow water to flow through. If we have the hot water system on, we can control the hot water by rotating the faucet control to the desired temperature that we want. To turn the control system off, we just shut the faucet, and that there's the tap closed. So the shower works in exactly the same fashion. You've got a faucet control for the shower for hot and cold water. So let's have a look at the toilet. So with the toilet, okay, to make use of the toilet, we do obviously need to lift the seat, and then we do need to open this access flap just here, or service flap, whatever you would like to call it. That is done by pulling this forward, and that then will allow any waste to pass through into the cassette toilet. Once you're done, then the flush control is located here on this control panel. We hold the button down, and that will allow water to flush, like so. And then once we're all finished, don't forget to close the service flap, like so. And that then will just stop any unpleasant smells washing back up from the toilet itself. The toilet bowl here does rotate, so if you want a slightly more comfortable angle, you can rotate the bowl to give you a better sitting position. On the toilet control unit, there are a couple of things to be aware of. This one here will light up to let you know if the cassette has been removed or if it hasn't been located properly when you've been returning it back to the toilet. And this just here is to let you know that the toilet system is about half, 75% full, and this here is to let you know the toilet cassette is full and it needs to be emptied. This one here is not used on this particular vehicle. In the bathroom while we're here, we have a charger socket for USB-C, and then over here is our 2 light controls as well. And that there covers our bathroom. As part of the boiler system inside your Globecar, there is a thermostatic frost protection valve, which is located under this table in the access box, which let me show you that just now. And that's it, just hiding down here. So this is designed to protect the boiler in case of cold weather, and it allows the boiler system to drain water out in an emergency. This forms part of your winter drain down as well. So when you're draining down the van and you've emptied out your fresh tank and your waste tank, it's also important to make sure you drain water out of your boiler as well. So how do we do that? It's very, very simple. All we do is we rotate this control device here. That then will start the boiler system from draining. Now, if the boiler has triggered as part of a frost, then what you'll notice is that this pin here will come out, and this will also probably have popped as well. So to reset everything, we just make sure that we turn this to 90 degrees, and then we push the frost button in, and that then will close all the circuits back up again, ready. And for winterization, you just want to open this up like that, and just let all the water drain from the boiler. On the entrance to your Globecar, you do have an electric step. Now this is controlled by the little switch hiding just here as you come in, and it's a case of just pushing the button to allow the electric step to retract in and out. Now, a good bit of advice for the electric step is if you have been in an area where it's muddy, sandy, or you've just got a lot of muck on here, I would recommend that you use a little brush just to sweep this off before you close the electric step. Likewise, if you are trying to retract the step out and it's been extremely slow, then do stop. Don't force the step out any further. It could possibly be that the step is damaged and you don't want to get it stuck out. Now, if you attempt to drive away in your van while the step is out, you'll hear a very loud buzzer going off of the cap, just to remind you that you need to put this back in. And as I said, it's just a case of just pushing the button to allow the step just to go back in. And there we go. That's the electric step. Down along the driver's side of your Globecar, at the very back, you're going to see this access panel here. This access panel here is your freshwater fill. So you open this up, you will need the key to unlock this cap, and it's just a case of undo the cap and then insert your choice of hose in here and then fill. Now there is no overflow on this, so when the water starts back washing out, you know that the tank is absolutely full. Now if you are seeing a puddle of water appearing at your feet just down here, then that would let you know that the valve is actually open and you need to close it. And I'll show you that in a different part of the video. So just once you've finished, is put your cap back in. Don't forget to lock this just for water safety, and then just close this down like so, and that is you all sorted. On the passenger side of the vehicle, just in front of the rear wheel and right below the toilet cassette door, you are going to see this. Now, this here is the waste valve for your van. So this allows you to empty out any wastewater from your vehicle. Very simple. You'll need your tool, locate it on here, like so, and then either have the tap open or closed, depending on what you're doing. So if you're driving around, you want this closed. If you're emptying the water, you're going to want this in the open position. And as you can see, you'll see water start to come from underneath the van to empty out your tank. And this is definitely part of your winterization. Don't forget that when you're winterizing your vehicle, to make sure you empty out your waste tank. Not a bad idea is once you've done this, is take the vehicle for a little 5 to 10 minute drive just to slosh out the last of the water, just to make sure everything is all safe for winter time. On the passenger side of your van, you are going to find this door here. Now, this door here is the access flap for the toilet cassette. So to get into that, you will need to unlock it first with the habitation key, and then just press the buttons, open the flap. And there is your toilet cassette. Now, important, before you try to retract this, do make sure that the service hatch inside has been fully shut. Otherwise, this toilet cassette will not retract from the van. So to take the cassette out, lift the green tag, and then pull the whole unit out like so. There is little wheels on the bottom, which you can use a little trolley handle there if you want to tow it, or you could just carry it with the top handle. So when you're ready to empty the cassette, rotate this part and undo the cap itself, ready to allow water waste to come out. And then it's a case of tipping it into the servicing point, press the little button here to allow the pressure to release out of this, and then that'll allow you to drain out your toilet cassette unit. So for washing it, I recommend that you fill it up about halfway, give it a good slosh, and do that at least twice just to make sure you've got all the bits and bobs out of it. Then put in water at about here, and then add in your chosen chemical, be it pink chemical or septic tank friendly chemical, or one of the pods which have become very popular. Put the nozzle back in the closed position, and then the unit goes in wheels first. Slide it in until it clicks. There we go, that's it clicked. I always recommend giving it a little wiggle just to make sure it has been secured firmly. And then close the flap, and don't forget to lock this. Number one theft from campsites is cassette toilets. They are rather vulnerable and they are expensive to replace. So don't forget to lock your cassette unit once you're done. Yeah.
That's Kevin Smith. Just accepted all of his estimate for repairs.
Okay.
So we're going to have it into the workshop tomorrow and Friday.
Super.
So,
all right.
Well, we'll get the fridge investigated on Friday with Mark.
Okay.
Jake will remove all the offending bits of window furniture.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
make sure that we've got the right bits in stock.
Okay.
As well as the vents as well. So the external
If it's any
vents.
help, those little corner things, I've got a spare one running around in the sales cupboard, if it's any help at all.
No, because the whole blind unit's going to come off.
All right,
outdoors.
okay.
It can't be fixed. David.
Okay,
it's
fine.
It's fucking.
No problem.
So
It's just in case you needed a spare, that was all.
No, it needs to. That whole thing needs to
All
come
right.
out. We need to order a new unit, but we want to get it off.
Yeah.
First to make sure that we're ordering the right thing.
Okay.
But at least it'll get started tomorrow. And
All right, Dommy. Lovely. Thank you. Okay, cool. Freshwater drain. Now that is located underneath the bed in your Globecar. Now I've already moved the cushion out the way to allow us to get a bit of access to this. So coming in through the back of the van, we are looking for this access panel just here, and this is where the fresh tank is living inside your Globecar. So let's lift this off, and here we are. Here is your fresh tank. Now there is a drain on your fresh tank, which is this little device here, and that is hiding right there. There it is right there. So your Globecar has quite a unique tank system on board. So when you want to completely empty the tank, so let's say winterization, or you've had a trip away and you're not using the van for a few weeks, then what you want to do is you want to turn that valve a couple of times and allow all the water to drain through. Now that water will drain out through the bottom of the tank here. So let's do that just now on this van. So let's open up the tap. Give it a couple of turns. And there we go, and that will allow water starting to drain through from the bottom of the van. Now, the van also has a travel mode, so if you only turn the tap 3/4 of the way, the water will only drain to about 20%. So the water in the tank will only drain to about this far down. That is ideal if you are traveling with the van and you want water on board, but not necessarily have to have a full tank for better fuel consumption. So if you're traveling specifically straight to a site and not planning to stop, then you could just empty all the water out. But I definitely recommend when you're moving the van around is operate in travel mode, and then when you arrive onto a campsite, you can then fill your freshwater tank to make sure you have plenty of water on board. Now, don't forget, emptying your fresh tank is a part of your winterization for your van. Very important to make sure you drain all the fresh water out, and don't forget to leave the tap open to allow any moisture to escape from the van itself. Now, as part of the reseason of the van, if you wish to, you can access the actual fresh tank through this flap just here, and that allows you to maybe put any potential cleaner that you want to flush through the tank first, as it were. And that there covers our fresh tank. Just inside the passenger door of your Globecar, you are going to see this here. This is the access flap for the fuel and for the AdBlue if your van is equipped with so. And it's a case of just using the vehicle key to unlock this, and the cap will then hang on here as you fill. With the AdBlue system, I strongly recommend that you only top up the AdBlue at service points or when the vehicle requires. But there's more detailed information about AdBlue systems on your van in your owner's handbook. On the door shut, you will see this sticker just here, and this sticker here is in relation to the tire pressures for the vehicle. So this gives you the tire sizes and the appropriate pressures for the vehicle. Now, these have been set by the manufacturer for the maximum load of this van, so I strongly recommend that you follow these to the letter. Please don't overfill the tires with pressure. The reason for passenger door of your Globecar, you will see this access flap here, and this is the fuel flap, which you can then undo with the vehicle key. This flap will actually hang on the little hook hiding down here as you fill up, and then the blue cap here is for the AdBlue system if your van is equipped with it. On the door slam, you will find this sticker, and this sticker here will give you the tyre sizes and the appropriate tyre pressures for this van. Now, please do bear in mind that these tyre pressures have been set by the manufacturer for this van operating at its maximum load. Please do follow these. I do not recommend adding more pressure to the tyres. It could increase fuel wear, and it can also unstable the van when driving. Hiding under the passenger seat, you are going to find the distribution board for the vehicle that is tucked right under here. There is the board switch just there for the isolation, and there is also an external isolation tap for the leisure system just here. Ideal if you're winterizing your van and you want to disengage all the rear van systems. Just to the side on the dashboard, you will find the bonnet latch just here. Let's take a look under the bonnet of your Globecar. So with the bonnet stay in the upright position, hiding over to the side here, we have the screen wash fill, coolant level, brake rubber reservoir, and then we have our oil fill reservoir, and tucked just to the side here, the yellow cap, is your physical dipstick. Now, the van here does actually have an electronic dipstick, so it will give you readings on the dashboard if you so wish to use that instead. Now, as part of winterization of your van, if your van has been left idle for some time, it might be a little bit weak to start when it comes to the new season. If that is the case, there are specific jump points inside your Globecar for you to use. This one here is your negative terminal, and then hiding just down here under this yellow tag is the positive terminal. Now, the vehicle's master battery is located under the floor in the cab. Please do not connect the jump leads directly to the battery. It's strongly recommended by the manufacturer that you use the jumper points under the bonnet. And there we go. That was the Handover video for the Globecar Summit Prime. Now, I hope you guys find it helpful and gets you all settled ready for your first few adventures out in your new van. But don't forget, myself and the rest of the team here at Highland Campervans are always on hand to help. If you need any advice or tips, please do reach out. We are here to help. All that's left for me to say is we wish you many happy miles motoring in your new van, making great new memories. Bye for now.